Live from WTOC, the Southeast news leader. The News Now starts on WTOC Plus.
Well, thanks for joining us here for the news on WTOC Plus. I'm digital anchor Jude Binkley, joined with meteorologist Andrew Gorton. We're going to get right into your forecast this morning because it is the holiday season. A bunch of people are traveling over the next couple of days. I'm driving to Ohio after work tomorrow. So the big question is, Andrew, how are the roads looking? How weather-wise? What can we expect?
Well, let me say today is probably the worst travel day for the next week and a half.
Okay.
So that's good news if you're traveling up to Ohio or flight-wise. It looks like weather pattern is actually going to get pretty quiet across the region. So let's look at the graphics. And you can see that rain chance. Of course, a lot of us have experienced that rain already today, but going forward, we're seeing more of that moisture build in this afternoon and evening. A lot of that clears out around daybreak tomorrow. And then we just have dry weather through the weekend, through Christmas Eve, through Christmas. And really, as we get closer to the New Year's, probably when we have that next rain chance. So we have to get through today. So look outside. It's a gloomy one, a dreary one. You want an SAT word? Lugubrious. That's when I like to bring it out on days like this. It's just kind of damp and dreary. You can see some of those showers off in the distance on the right of the screen, how you can't see quite as far. 61 in Savannah at the airport, currently not raining. They've got about 1/10 of an inch of rain already, though, today. And, of course, it makes sense. Looking south from that camera, you saw more rain, and it is coming in, looping this over the last 30 minutes. Another batch of showers exiting out of Liberty County, going into Bryan County, up the Ogeechee and Chatham County, and then into Effingham. So these little showers off and on will continue here for the next few hours. And you can see that we've got that light green out there. That's where we're seeing the lighter rain. Pointing your attention back off to the south and west, that's where we have more moisture that will be coming in later today. Temperatures warmer, kind of blew by that one. But this is the foreshadowing, right? The clouds, the moisture, and then even more rain coming in. So looking southwest, you can see that rain is coming, and even going all the way back toward the panhandle of Florida, suggesting that the atmosphere in the region could support some more moderate rainfall later on today. So as we get more to that peak heating, even though we're not going to climb up too much more today, I think we could have some pockets of slightly heavier rainfall, which is why I've kind of brought that rain chance up a little bit later on today. And again, pointing out that that rain shaft, as we call it, is coming down over Savannah, where it's not quite as clear, where it's gray. It's rain falling from the sky, and we get it from that perspective on the hotel there. I don't want to give them a free plug. Looking back over toward the river. So it's pretty cool to see that coming in real time. You saw it on the radar. Now you get to see it there in the camera. As we look forward here to the afternoon, we see those showers increase into the evening. Notice the yellows, the oranges. This model typically looks a little bit more aggressive than what actually happens. So just being transparent with that, but seeing this moisture continue through the evening, lessening as we go past bedtime. Overnight, there's a lull, and here's that front actually clearing and kind of weakening the showers by daybreak tomorrow. So that wind will go from the southwest, then be more offshore. Wind gusts tomorrow could be that 20 to 25 mile an hour range. So to a 20% tomorrow. And again, most of that moisture for Friday is going to be before sunrise. Then we're clear. We start that dry time. Today's damp, everything else pretty dry. 7-day forecast on your screen now showing you that as we get into the weekend, we've got sunshine, a cooler start Saturday in the 30s, maybe Statesboro, Metter, Vidalia could get down to about 32, 33 Saturday morning. Not a hard freeze, and that's going to be our cooler morning there out of the next 7 days. Looking forward, 10 days, you can see the temperatures actually jump above average, typically more low to mid 60s. I'd say we're about 10 degrees above that as we get into Christmas Day. So you said Ohio is where you're heading up to? I will potentially be going that way. Don't know yet. I'll find out. But even up that way, in-laws in the Cleveland area, Christmas Day, they're looking at upper 40s. Yeah. I was there 4 years ago, and the wind chill was negative 29.
That sounds like a Midwest
Christmas. I
Christmas.
took a screenshot on the WTOC weather app up there. So big difference. And that to say that if you have travel plans around Christmas week, high pressure, warmer temperatures. I'm from Dallas. They could have temperatures over 20 degrees above average. So kind of a pattern flip from the cold we had beginning this week to the warmth and overall quieter weather as we get into next week.
Yeah, I know we'll probably, knock on wood, we'll never have a white Christmas here in Savannah, but I'd rather have a dry Christmas than a wet or a lugubrious Christmas.
Yes, that's kind of
we need
sad,
to do vocab
depressing.
lessons.
Yeah, I'll try to sprinkle some of those in sometimes just for fun.
So, okay, T-shirt on Christmas doesn't sound too bad.
Nope, there you go.
Andrew, thanks for joining us here on WTOC Plus. And we are going to get to the rest of your headlines here on WTOC Plus. We do start with this. Beaufort County deputies are investigating an overnight shooting that left a man injured on St. Helena Island. Here's what we know. It happened around 8:40 last night on Lands End Road on St. Helena Island. That's according to the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. Now, when deputies arrived on scene, they found a 42-year-old man who had been shot. He was taken to a hospital to be treated. We have no word yet on his condition. Now, the shooting is under investigation, and the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with information to call Sergeant Leidy at that number on your screen, 843-255-3294. And this is Justin to our newsroom. Chatham County officers are working to remove a boat that overturned last night. Here's what we know. It happened in the Moon River, Skidaway River area near Burnside Island. The boat's operator was rescued, taken to the hospital, and has since returned back home. Now, CCPD has told the U.S. Coast Guard about this, who are marking the area, so boaters can be aware of it as they approach. Well, the search continues for the man accused of using acid to attack a woman who was walking at Forsyth Park last week. A community walk took place last night at that same park to show support for Ashley Wieselwiski as she recovers. Ashley has spent much of the last week in surgery after she was walking around the park when a man threw acid on her, burning more than half of her body earlier this month. Community members coming back to the scene say they want to reclaim their park from violence.
We thought we could bring the community together and show Ashley that we're here for her, but also, we want to live our lives and take back the park, basically.
And 9 Line Apparel is donating $25,000 to anyone who can help police identify and convict the person responsible. Their CEO, Tyler Merritt, said anyone with information can contact SPD. Collins Quarter also announced a reward for information, and with other community donations, that reward has now reached $22,000 for information leading to an arrest. The FBI has also issued a $5,000 reward. Turning now to state news, the father of the accused Appalachia High School shooter is in court right now. Colin Gray is accused of giving his son, 14-year-old Colt Gray, access to the rifle used in the shooting that killed 4 people and wounded 9 others last year. This morning is the final motions hearing for Gray before his trial begins in February. The hearing started just about 2 hours ago. Colin faces nearly 30 charges, including 2 counts of second-degree murder and 19 counts of cruelty to children. He pleaded not guilty. Meanwhile, Colt, who faces more than 50 charges, has no trial date set and is awaiting the results of a mental health evaluation. Colin's attorneys have tried to get this case dismissed several times, and they have not been successful. In previous hearings, his attorneys had argued that statements Colin gave to investigators were not freely or voluntarily given, and that officers searched his home without a warrant. Colin's attorneys have also argued his indictment was too vague.
It does not put us on notice of exactly what we have to defend. It does not allege probable cause or foreseeability of this knowledge. In our opinion, it's too vague.
Again, that hearing is happening right now. We'll have an update from the courtroom at 1 p.m. today right here on WTOC+. And this morning, state lawmakers are figuring out what's next after their highly anticipated face-off with Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis.
Asking your
I
client.
suggest you move on. I'm answering my question.
I'm good.
What have you done, sir? Nothing.
Willis testified before a panel of state senators who are investigating how now defunct 2020 election interference case and are standing by her. Standing by her decision to indict President Trump and his allies on racketeering charges.
People came into my community and committed a crime, and I indicted them. And rest assured, if someone else comes in my community and commits a crime, I will indict them again.
That case was ultimately dismissed because of Willis's relationship with prosecutor Nathan Wade, who she assigned to the case. The panel of state lawmakers pressed DA Willis on several issues, including how her office spends state funds. While the panel can't discipline Willis, they can take what they've heard and recommend changes to state law when legislators return for their next session in January. Turning now to some national news, the House has passed a GOP-led health care bill. However, it faces an uncertain future in the Senate. The bill does not include an extension of the tax credits, meaning they will expire at the end of the year. House Speaker Mike Johnson says a vote on a 3-year extension could still happen in January. Without those, millions of Americans will see their health insurance premiums skyrocket. Well, 1 week before Christmas, President Trump gave a primetime speech defending his record on the economy for the past year. This is something we carried live right here on WTOC Plus last night at 9 p.m. For roughly 20 minutes, the president blamed Democrats as he talked up his accomplishments on immigration, trade, and lowering prices. He also announced that his administration plans to give some military members bonus checks this week. But that speech comes as many Americans say they're still being squeezed by higher prices. CBS News' Jared Hill has the details.
We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
In an 18-minute primetime address focused on his economy, President Trump began by blaming his predecessor.
11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it.
He celebrated his efforts to curb immigration.
We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country.
Championed tariff policy.
We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs.
And touted efforts to curb inflation.
I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast.
Not entirely true, according to CBS News analysis of government data. Americans also say they're feeling the pinch when paying for essentials.
Prices are just too high. Everything is too high.
In a new CBS News poll, 63% of respondents said the economy is bad. 76% say their income isn't keeping up with inflation.
My grocery bill has definitely doubled.
The latest government data also shows that unemployment ticked up to 4.6% last month, the highest in 4 years.
In Trump's America, people are being squeezed in every direction.
Looking to the future, President Trump announced plans for a warrior dividend, $1,776 for some members of the military, the amount a nod to the year the country was founded. He also promised to unveil aggressive housing reform in the new year. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Turning now to news out of the Palmetto State, more than 500,000 South Carolinians rely on SNAP to feed their families every month. But new federal rules for the program could cost South Carolina hundreds of millions of dollars every year. State House reporter Mary Green explains how one state agency believes it can save a lot of that taxpayer money.
Right now, the federal government fully funds SNAP benefits. But under the big, beautiful bill President Donald Trump signed into law this past July, states could be required to take on part of these costs beginning in October of 2027. And they could be significant here in South Carolina.
This is a huge shift in federal policy and really the state operations.
Right now, states determine who's eligible for SNAP using criteria the federal government sets. In South Carolina, the Department of Social Services does that. Then the feds audit a small pool of state SNAP applications. Under the big, beautiful bill, if they find errors, like if an applicant submitted pay stubs for 2 jobs but really has 3 jobs, those errors will start costing states.
One of the issues that we have is client error. It's not the agency error rate, it's the client error, the information that's presented to us.
For the last fiscal year, South Carolina's error rate was 9.25%, but the Department of Social Services believes it's actually lower right now. Starting in October of 2027, all states will be trying to keep their error rate below 6%. If they do, the federal government will continue to cover the full cost of SNAP benefits, about $1.4 billion annually in South Carolina. But if error rates are 6% or greater, the state will have to pay a portion of their benefits. Estimates show in South Carolina that could mean anywhere from $70 million a year to $210 million a year in state taxpayer money. So DSS wants to take action now to bring that error rate down. It's asking for money from lawmakers in the next state budget to do it.
Really what you see in our budget request is planning and preparation.
DSS is asking lawmakers for about $34 million, about half of which would cover the state's increased share of SNAP operations costs, another new requirement under the big, beautiful bill. Other parts of the funding would go toward filling 31 new positions focused on quality control, agents to investigate SNAP fraud, and call center monitors. The rest would be spent on IT improvements improvements in contracting with a third-party vendor to verify applicants' wage information. DSS believes using this money now to drive down that error rate and keep it low will save South Carolina much, much more in the future.
Because at the end of the day, these are tax dollars.
Lawmakers will return to session here next month and start taking up agencies' budget requests shortly after that. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
Well, for Georgia farmers, you can now get some of a $12 billion federal relief fund to help face high costs, market losses, and inflation. Some farmers say that they're still recovering from Hurricane Helene, but that's already on top of the effects of the pandemic and frost conditions in South Georgia. We're hearing from one farmer who says money from the government is necessary to stay in business.
The problem is other countries don't have the same standards for production that we do. That means that we have to sell it for less sometimes than what we're making it for, just like we're talking about. So those subsidies are there to kind of be a gap to fill in so that we can continue to keep these things produced in America. And without them, it makes it almost impossible.
Now, farmers who want to qualify for the Trump administration's $12 billion Farmer Bridge Assistance Program have until tomorrow at 5 p.m. to verify their acreage. If approved, payments are expected to go out by the end of February. Well, the holidays are now a little brighter for students facing homelessness in Liberty County thanks to the school system's Board of Education. A gift giveaway took place at the Liberty County Board of Education on Broadwell Street in Hinesville yesterday. You're getting a look right now at some of those gifts. Sponsors and school staff delivered them to the families as they drove through the circle at the front of the BOE building. Event organizers say they gave out a variety of gifts to students, some fun items and some practical items.
Lots and lots of toys because we do serve students throughout the district at all 15 schools from kindergarten to 12th grade. So it depends on the age. Some are toys and some are toiletry type things like lotion, perfume, sometimes socks, underwear, hats, things like that, clothing, jackets. You know, it just depends on the student's age and, of course, what our contributors want to give.
Now, this is the 8th year for the Liberty County School System's Brighter Christmas event, which served 69 families with 138 students this season. And Christmas is 1 week away. It's hard to believe, and one neighborhood in Effingham County is decked out for the occasion. The Penny Lane neighborhood in Guyton is brightly lit up with over 100,000 light bulbs, from front yard displays to lights strung out on roofs and so much more. For 6 years now, William McDonald and his family have invited the community to come out and see the festive lights while also supporting a good cause close to home. On December 20th and 24th, the McDonald family and Penny Lane neighbors are hosting charity nights to raise money for Camp Sunshine and Cure. Those are two nonprofits benefiting childhood cancer patients and research. When families swing by, they can donate whatever they're able to afford. There will be QR codes in the neighborhood to scan, and cash is also accepted. Last year, McDonald said they raised a little more than $1,000. The McDonald son, Austin, was diagnosed with bone cancer when he was just 8 years old. Fortunately, he has since beat the disease and has been in remission for over a decade.
With the people at Scottish Rite Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia, and here in Savannah, Georgia at Memorial, they were able to catch it in time and stuff, and right now he's been cancer-free. And
For 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years.
There will be hot chocolate and cookies to enjoy, places to take pictures with your family, and even Christmas movies playing for people to see at both of the charity nights. And with that, we are going to wrap things up here for the news on WTOC Plus. We appreciate you spending part of your afternoon with us. We'll be back at the top of the hour for another round of stories during the news at noon. And in the meantime, you can always head on over to our website to catch the latest updates at WTOC.com. Thanks for watching, and here's Local News Live.